Buenas noches, everyone. I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, and of course, the love and support you guys extend and share with me. From the heart, I appreciate every one of you. And before getting to the story on hand, do please like, share, and subscribe to support the message. Gracias. Well, to get into the topic on hand today, right? Today I want to answer a question that I got asked not to, on today's live, but the one before that I said I would speak on it. You know, my apologies is taking a bit to actually touch on it, right? But well, for those that don't know, right? Nevertheless, what's said is a promise, and I'm here. Today I want to talk about Shotgun, right, from 18th Street, and why I think or know why instead of getting blessed the way he got promised and put up to, he got whacked, right? And for this, I want to take you back. When I first got to Corcoran, right? I've spoken on this, right? There was when I got there, I had a yard, but right there in a yard on four right B section with me were two strong camaradas, right? In the sense that they were answering up to the respectful pilis, right? Which one was Terco and the other one was Artie. Osito from 18 and Shadow from 3rd Street, right? And me personally, I got along with both of them real feedermans, right? The group yard though, I had a lot more Torica for Shadow because he wasn't that high power individual, right? Nevertheless, I'm not saying Osito was, he was just more on that tip, right? And there's no need for it. At least I never thought so, right? Amongst camaradas, behind the scenes, of course, you do what you gotta do, but when you're surrounded by nothing camarada, there's no need to belittle nobody, right? Or act or show what you're doing behind the scenes. Anyways, as I told the story, I don't wanna, political things played out, that could send word and things unfolded in the cell between them two, right? And when this incident happened, it's the first time I went out to medical and I ran across Shotgun. By this time I already knew he was, well, Jako and Artie, they were they were close, right? They were close in the sense of Jako was never about having them set between his legs, right? It was always he was a money man. He knew how to make money. He knew how to move his neighborhood. He knew how to move pieces to make feria, you know. And Artie was a money hungry individual, right? Anyways, they were close, and I don't know if it played out as so or whatever, but Artie had a lot of homies from 18th Street right underneath him, and Jacko had shotgun, Gizmo. Oh, he had like three camaradas right from 18th Street that were tough underneath them. But when we speak about shotgun, we gotta take it a little deeper, right? Shotgun and Indio. Indio was Artie's first right hand man, right? And him and Shotgun were tight. They supported each other in the sense of pumping themselves up with the Baileys, right? And you know, when this occurred, again, I ran into Shotgun out in medical, and basically he wanted me to. I'm not gonna say go against the green, but he wanted me to favor his homeboy, right? In the sense against Shadow, cause it was a no-no regardless, right? Osito should have never taken it that far, especially without permission in na jardín that's ajeno, right? But anyways, I told him straight up, Chales, right? Me personally, there's no need for that. Either derecha la flecha, you're doing things right, or you go against the green straight up, forward, right? And you do it full force. There's no need to sidestep, no do things halfway, right? And he fell offense to this. For one, again, he did everything for Jako. When I say everything, I mean everything for Jako. You know, Later on when that war happened, everything for Jako, right? Of course, Jako had other individuals, but Shotgun, he should have been blessed. Of all the things he did for Jako, there shouldn't have been no question on it, right? But you see, a lot of things played out afterwards. As you guys know, the war between Terco and Artie was tough, right? The thing is, Artie would eventually weenie out, and Osito would end up in Terco's yard, per se. And Terco didn't forgive, right? And in High Desert, he ended up clipping Osito. As this went on, for those that are in the know, there was a couple issues when it came to up in Pelican Bay with Jako, right? It's all greed. Terco Bassett, Jacko Azusa, but he felt he was in charge of La Puente, West Colvina, Belinda Flats. He felt he had more power over other Baileys. And that's one thing, whoever knows Terco on a personal tip, he disliked big time. But he was a quiet type, right? I mean, he will go to full blown war with you, but nevertheless, you prefer to wait and see when it was time to go ahead and finish tightening that rope around your neck, right? But he allowed you to do it yourself. In a sense, a lot of arguments and incidents happened before the Cisco incident between Terco and Jako. And throughout this whole thing, Terco, as myself and others, knew that Shotgun was his boy, his kid, right? Because again, he ran everything. I know I keep repeating it, but I just want to make that word into what it is, right? Everything. And, skipping, I don't want to make this too long. What happened is, you see Shotgun, when they first got to where they were going to get from the shoe, right? To him, he had already been blessed. You see, that's the ignorance or the problem when you lock yourself as a camarada with just one pili, right? we forget that as sureños, we don't mean too much to the pilis. They're gonna use every tool to their benefit. At the end of the day, it's to look out for themselves. Nobody knew supposedly Jacko had put shotgun up, and it supposedly Jacko, had came back and he had been made. So again, you have this individual, right, that's eager to go to war with other pilis. You just wait for that opening in Terco, and then Shotgun gets to where he's getting, and he's claiming to be a pili. It got shot down real quick by Jako saying there was some issues, excuses, right? At the end of the day, is what I always say. It was that carrot in a string type of thing, stringing you along. I want to make you a carnal. In this case, he took it further than that, right? But it was coming. I didn't really like Shotgun. I'll be honest with you, but I'll give him props. Right away when seeing Jacko sidestep, he knew he should have known right away he has been they were in the shoe. He had been lied to, right? And him getting a place and claiming he's a carnal, he's done. They ain't gonna hear you badmouth another carnal. They ain't gonna hear. The first thing they're gonna ask you is, "Where's that mapil? Show us the black and white." And if you can't show you spoke ill about pili, you're done. So he should have known better, but he didn't. And if he did, he bucked up and waited to get hit. Because that's exactly what happened. Terco came out the shadows. There was a big play against Shotgun. For those that know, been with me know, I was supporting Terco for a long time, right? And a lot of different things. There was already plan in motion for Shotgun, regardless of this. But Jako played into Terco's hand. You see, from being this high power brawler, being above other Pilis. I'm not gonna say this incident with Shotgun pushed Jacko to call it quits, cause I don't know. I would be lying, cause he had a lot of issues, right? A lot. But soon after is when he got taking his showers and he told the Hudas, "I'm scared of my life. I need to get out of here." And there when anything he had as a manhood left him, right? Not because of the action, it's because he left the individual that was loyal to him for many, many years hanging. He could have shot an appeal and said, "You know what? I'm done for. I messed up. I disculpa, but I'm giving you a heads up, out of respect." Nah, chale. I want to look out for me. F you. You know, that's when I speak. We could sit here and speak about carnales, sureños, campuleros. But that's why I refer to it as Tecato mentality, right? Don't matter whether they still always carry that mentality. Me, and only me type of thing, right? Which I'm not saying is wrong, but you gotta know how to separate it from, you know, just separate And anyways, you guys know the story. Shotgun pushed because he should have been. You know, he pushed after he tried to push after he got whacked, saying trying to speak, but the mine was already set. Shotgun had to go. He wasn't trustworthy because you know Jako wasn't trustworthy. See, Jako was in the loop of a lot. When he called it quits, that fool told him something good. He hurt a lot of people. So of course, Shotgun as his right hand man should have known better. There's no forgiveness for that. It makes another Pili nervous, and you don't want to ever do that, right? Cause remember we're disposable. But anyways, I hope I made sense. Basically, in a nutshell, Shotgun got lied to for many, many years, saying he was being put up. They had put him on pause. And then I don't know how Jako played it off, making Shotgun believe that he had already been made. The problem lied is, I think, Jako built that trust, blind trust, right, between them that Shotgun didn't need permission from Jako. He basically said, hey, this and that, and this is what I had done. Sign it. And Jako signed it. All he wanted was dope and feria. Whatever Shotgun had going, he didn't care for. Right, wrong, as long as he made his cut. But in a nutshell, that's it. He got lied to, and he got excused. He got accused, excuse me, of claiming to be a Pili when he was not. He was never even up to be a Pili. So again, the message I want to end with this is, for all those that haven't been there, it's what we see time and time again, right? A Pili utilizing his position to brainwash a camarada. Should should I dare to say we were wrong? Yeah, we're wrong for trusting so blindly, right? Um, I'm at fault at this bad, believe me. But again, you're sacrificing everything. You're a Sureño, you're going to war with crews from Pilis for your Pili. To find out your Pili has just run dragged on you and don't even have the courtesy to turn around and tell you I messed up. You need to cut out. I don't think Shotgun would have cut out. He would have gotten whacked regardless. He would have stayed to get whacked. You know. But again, caras vemos, corazones no sabemos, right? Faces we see, but we don't know the hearts, right? I mean, look at all these tough M members. It's one thing they go weaning out. It's a whole different thing to go down the line and just put a whole bunch of cases on different individuals. But anyways, I hope I made some sense in this. I guess the message to this is what I always put out. Be wise. When I say wise, I'm not trying to minimize the mentality of nobody. Just simply be trucha. Know how to different them cats that have good torica, have good lips. Because those are the worst ones. You know, be smart, stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones. Buenas noches, everyone.
This is what we always